So, hey guys, Digital Deepak here, and welcome to a webinar where we are going to learn about how you can grow your Facebook group. So, today we have Tamanna Damija in the webinar as a special guest today. And what we are going to learn from her is how to grow a Facebook group organically. So Tamanna is the CEO of this company called convosite.com, which is an exclusive tool for Facebook group admins to help them grow their Facebook groups. So it gives a lot of insights on how the engagement rate is, a lot of other features which we will learn about in today's webinar. But before we get into that, let's first hear from Tamanna herself on how she grew a group to millions. And it is a group about mothers, right? So, Tamanna, I would like to hear from you on how your journey has been. How did this whole thing got started? And then we will learn a little bit more about your journey with ConvoSite and how it has become a company. And then we will eventually get to how people can use ConvoSite to grow their own groups. So, over to you, Tamanna. Would like to hear from you.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Deepak, and thank you all again. I'm just looking at that ticker, and it's 450 of you have joined in. Thank you so much. So, just a little bit about my background. I was in the early part of my career. So, I was in India all throughout. Did my education, my MBA from MDI, and then I moved to New York because my family moved. And then my entire early career was spent doing investments. So I was in finance. I was managing money for GM Asset Management. I was an equity fund manager for about 9 years. And then I became a mother. And when I became a mother, I realized, like a lot of other new moms, that I need support, and I need support from other moms who are going through the same pain points. So and it's interesting how that thought kept compounding, right? Like with every problem that I had as a mother, the idea was that I have a lot of blogs and content, and the doctors giving me advice, and my mother's family, which is great, but I want to have support from people who are going through the same pain point. And that's where I started thinking that why don't we build a Reddit like platform for moms. So Reddit is great, and that's pretty much been the first platform that started the concept of tribes online. And with that thought, I just kept getting deeper into it. I started speaking to friends and family back home in India, and I realized that in India the need is even bigger because there is limited lack of access to experts, and there's not that many protocols. Cow's milk, when do we give cow's milk? These small things which it seems like it's a no brainer, they are a big deal for a first time mother. And that really sort of triggered my decision to quit my job and convince my husband, who's my co-founder. And by the way, he has an experience of 15 years in investment banking. He's been on Wall Street. He was in New York for 25 years. And then sorry for the noise, we moved back to India in late 2016 with this idea of starting a Reddit for mothers, which will solve all the sort of problems around information discovery, and eventually product and service discovery. um, that's how my first sort of venture, right, my entrepreneurial journey started with Baby Destination. And what Deepak is referring to as Facebook communities that we scaled was under the name of Baby Destination. Uh, we started our first Facebook group in July 2017. I'm sure you guys must be wondering, from Reddit and from starting a different platform, how did we land on Facebook groups? So we had a very core insight there. And at that point, it was contrarian, that rather than starting a separate platform and an app and then driving people to that platform, right, then running Facebook ads, Google ads to get people there, we should go where people are already. And Facebook groups appeared like the right platform and we had this insight that this will really scale up to be a Reddit of sorts for not just parenting but other categories. The fundamental truth in a community, in an organic community, is connection and trust. Like, this is a community, right? This is a community of sorts because clearly 500 of you have joined, and there's a lot of trust to learn from Deepak. Of course, Deepak is a rock star here, right, who's brought us all together. But I'm sure you also look to learn from each other a lot. And I know, Deepak, you're managing an awesome community. So the fundamental truth in a community is trust and connection. And what facilitates this is the frequency of interactions. So Why Facebook group? Because that's what Facebook has nailed it like no one else in the world, right? Enabling frequent interactions.
Yes.
And people were like, super contrarian, and what's going on? Are you crazy? And you moved from New York to start a Facebook group. What is it? Is it a blog? It's not even a blog. So but anyway, long story short, it was a design choice that we made, build on Facebook group. The second design choice was that communities is formed around a specific pain point or passion niche, right? And parenting is very large. Do I care about breastfeeding? Do I care about weight gain? Do I care about home remedies? It's We cannot have one parenting community of 2 million or 10 million. We can have 10 communities of a million each, or 20 communities of 500,000, but they have to be around specific pain points. So the second design choice was that create a network of micro communities around specific pain points. So the first community that we launched was home remedies for babies and moms. There was no such community like that on Facebook at that point. Thousands of parenting communities, but no specifically around that. And then we kept scaling. So kids nutrition, weight gain for kids, weight loss post pregnancy, etc. So that was the second design choice. The third choice was that as we will continue, you'll hear my son in the background. So as we continue to scale, uh, Tamanna will not be the admin of all communities, right? Not possible, not right, because Tamanna doesn't share the persona of a mother in Chennai who's looking for nutrition, right? I'm not from Chennai. That's not my persona. I don't associate with that pain point. So third was that we will build. This will be a decentralized model where the communities will be admin by members who are super passionate about that need, and that's sort of, so with those three choices in mind, we set off on this unknown journey. And today we are 30 communities with over 2 million members across 4 different languages, and every single one of them is around informational pain points.
Amazing. So, in fact, I already got a lot of insights from this conversation. So, I have a group with 200,000 plus members, and what I have discovered is that it is difficult to be the admin yourself, and difficult to go ahead and do the conversations yourself. And many times we get the people to engage, we get the people to ask questions, other people to give answers and all that. And in fact, even before Facebook groups was born, I used to use this site called Yahoo Answers, even before Quora or all these new platforms came, and that was like one of the first community-driven Q&A kind of thing which came up. And unfortunately, I think it didn't pick up. So one idea that I got from this conversation is that you can start micro communities, assign different people to be the admin of these groups, and then have discussions and conversations around certain topics rather than put everyone in a single group, because that becomes overwhelming. Because the kind of effectiveness I had when I had like 10,000 members or even 50,000 members, it's not the same right now. So I think even I should do that. So it's great that it's distributed across 30 different groups, and 2 million members is simply amazing. So guys, just say wow in the chat box if you think that starting 30 different groups with 2 million people is amazing. So I just need to enable the chat. Yeah, guys, you can go ahead and put it in the chat box. So fantastic.
Like the most
So
amount of wows I've gotten in my life. Thank you all.
so yeah, so I usually like to do these interviews live with an audience, and I feed off the energy from the audience. It's very difficult not to be enthusiastic when we see so many people live. So yeah, a lot of people say that they are going to do a startup, they are going to do something, and they might not have said that, hey, I'm going to start a Facebook group. And I think it's a good idea that we can build on top of platform instead of building a platform from scratch, because first of all, there are going to be a lot of tech issues. And second, it's difficult to remind people to come to your platform when they are already visiting Facebook every day. They have the Facebook app, and apart from people receiving information only by visiting the group, they also receive the group updates on the uh, Facebook feed itself, right? So I think that gives a lot of traction to the group, because Facebook knows that okay, this will be relevant, so it pushes on the Facebook feed. So now, my question is that how has been the journey so far, and how did you start making money or monetizing the group? Because I think there would have been definitely some level of monetization. And so tell me about the journey with the group itself and how it got monetized, and how it grew and what happened after it started growing, and then after that we will talk about Convo.
Sure. I told you about our first community, right? We started Home Remedies, and within a few months, by from July to December, we were already like at a 90,000 members, right? Massively growing, massive engagement, and that was sort of our the period where we wanted to see, is there a PMF? I know you guys must be thinking, what is the product? But the product was Facebook groups. So that was the time where we were testing out a lot of things, and
So
once we
sorry to
realized that.
interrupt. I want to know how the growth happened. Like, you just created a group, had discussions, and did the growth happen organically? People just discovered it and joined, or did you do any promotional activities?
Sure. So we started WhatsApp groups, and we started this Facebook community simultaneously. And the way we started the WhatsApp community was, so we were in Delhi, and we went to a couple of events where there were parents and moms, and we interacted with a lot of them. And we just said that, would you like to be a part of WhatsApp community? So literally, I used to go to these events, and all day, like, standing there and taking numbers and building the group. And I did that, right? And I'm so happy that I did that, because that's how our first set of WhatsApp communities, local communities in Delhi started. So South Delhi moms, GK1 moms, etc. And then, of course, WhatsApp also scaled a lot, where we have about 20,000 members across different WhatsApp groups. But this happened simultaneously. That's one. In terms of growth hacks, right? So the first set of members who joined, we also had a presence on the Baby Destination page. The idea was that for the first 6 months before we started the community, we were creating a lot of informational content to learn that what happens when an informational content piece goes out, and we were not promoting it at all. So Deepak, we did no marketing, like absolutely no marketing. From Jan to June 2017 was just seeing that what happens in this feed, which is cluttered with ads, if you actually put out content that adds value. Like, this is clearly content that's adding value, right? Because I think all of these people have come because not because of an ad. Exactly the same thing, right? So simple blog video content on the top 5 pain points for every micro life stage of a mother. uh, that was a learning experience in itself. And I'll tell you, on home remedies, so there was a blog we put out and on home remedies for babies and kids. It reached 100,000 people in less than 24 hours, and 20,000 people landed on our website, and the website crashed. So people are like, oh, this is virality, it happens once and you cannot repeat it. And I've always been very curious since childhood. I'm like, there must be some science to it, right? Of course, I know nothing about marketing. I had just seen the world of Facebook 6 months back. But we didn't give up, right? We then continued to do a lot of content on home remedies. We figured that there is this organic growth, which Deepak, you're talking about, right? Like how Facebook pushes your content, and if it gets shared within a certain period of time, then it will get pushed more. And we tried to crack that sort of organic model behind it on the page. I'm just saying, what were the learnings coming into setting up the first community? And I was expecting a question on, why did you only start home remedies and why not something else? So this is the answer to that, right? That this is why we started home remedies, because there was a learning there. It was a proven area where moms were definitely looking forward to a lot of content and support. So when we started, the first set of people who joined were active moms who were organically following our page and were sharing. So our content at that point, we were, I think, one of the highest organically the page with one of the highest organic reaches. And we know that because Facebook reached out to us in early 2018 and they did a case study with us. And we were like, what's going on? Because our page, apparently, because our monthly reach of the organic reach of the page used to be 8 million, 10 million. It was crazy. And it was all because of this organic sharing phenomena. So when we started the community, the first set of people were active moms. We had a simple content strategy in place, right? again, the content strategy doesn't change. The idea was, let's target the top 5 pain points that mothers will have around home remedies. Why are they looking for home remedies? Because you cannot give medicines. Why can you not give medicines? Because babies are small. What are the main conditions for which they ask for home remedies, right? It's sneezing and, cough and wheezing. So we had that entire sort, and it was a simple Excel model, no rocket science. There were only 4 of us, right? And we just religiously, in a disciplined manner, kept posting that content to give every member who enters a full content experience. We educate, we post a content inviting opinions. uh, we had some expert moms, and after that it was basically the Facebook algorithm organically propelling the community growth, massive referrals. Our referral, sorry, there's somebody at the door, just 1 second, sorry.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, she will be back in a moment. And what do you think about it? So let's go ahead and have a look at one recent Your Story article that was shared. And here you can see why 1.3 million mothers turn to Baby Destination to help them navigate the highs and lows. So we're just checking your story coverage. So guys, what do you think about this so far? Uh, nice. So anyway, so now
And
how
I see
did
Mridul's comment.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry, Mridul was saying Facebook algorithm has changed completely. I was just, yeah, I was going to actually come to that because I know that's a big question. That at that point, pages were great. And of course, times change. And I mean, this was early part of 2017. But I wanted to tell that because that was the learning and insight we got of how we came to communities. And then after that, how the growth happened is it's mostly organic and referrals. Again, referrals happen when people, their questions are answered, how fast their questions are answered, how effectively they are answered from the admin but peers. And like I said, it's that frequency of interactions which leads to trust, and that's what just continued to happen. And one thing that I think we did from the get-go is, one is discipline around what content do we bring, because that establishes, think of your experience. If today you have joined Deepak's community, of course, in this case Deepak is a rock star, right? I wasn't a rock star. Nobody, I just moved to India. Like nobody, as such knows me, right? Why should they listen to me or anyone for parenting, right? But what is the member experience? The minute a person joins, what do they see? They'll go and see the last few posts. And initially Facebook will continue to show them some posts in their feed. If it is relevant, if it prompts them to cross the first hurdle of responding, that's the first job done, right? And if the person then sees value, then they will come and post, and which leads to engagement. And we used to track all of this very closely. So we used to have trend lines of engagement and see that we clearly saw that engagement is the leading indicator to growth, which means first the engagement goes up, and then Facebook algorithm sort of pushes it organically in the member feed, and you start seeing the growth curve go up. uh, we started looking at conversations and building models out of it, very simple models, right, just made in Excel. So within baby care, like I said, what is the top 5 or 10 biggest things that people are asking again and again? If they are again and again asking, how do I massage my baby, right? If they are, for example, here again and again asking organic reach, then that is it. Like, so as Conversite now, I'll go and put out content on organic reach. So we started building these insights models, which used to decide what content we will post. We were very, very disciplined with that. And we used to also look at insights to decide which is the next community to launch. So
Okay,
it's not like
got
we
it.
had a list
Yeah.
of 30 things, right, on what to launch. I'll just take one example. Through our insights, we saw that postpartum depression, I don't know how many of you are parents or have seen people talk about it, but sometimes after
I
you
know.
deliver, you
Yeah.
go into depression because it's hormonal. Postpartum depression is a medical thing, right? It just happens and you feel sad, and it's just there, and it gets treated with time and with some therapy. But through our insights, we saw that women who are, of course, you have weight on you, right? If you don't look good, if you are heavier on the weight side, which is natural, it worsens the effects of postpartum depression.
Mm.
insight came out in that model of, pregnancy. And what we did was we launched a community which was, lifestyle and health for moms, and a community on weight loss post pregnancy. I cannot tell you the impact that we saw when we measured the effectiveness just in that community. So again, the insight was that, moms also, they need to talk about lifestyle, they need to feel good, and they need to lose weight in an effective manner, because otherwise it just amplifies the effect of, postpartum. So that was sort of, very, very core, until today continues to be the core of what we do, which is conversational insights.
Fantastic. So those are very interesting because when I got started with my whole business, it was actually from this Facebook group, which I have, which is Learn Digital Marketing Group. And at that time, I had around 500 to 700 members. I don't remember the exact number there, but it was not more than 1,000 definitely. And so I started building this email list for my blog by 2016, 2015, 2016. And then I decided that I will start a Facebook group. In fact, most of the businesses who want to understand what customers want, they have a research methodology. They hire some people to do research. They have something like focus groups, but it's not very effective. Sometimes the data is very skewed. But when you create a Facebook group and start interacting with people, that is when you kind of have a good idea, like averaged out idea of who your customer is and what they want. So when I started building my email list, I started asking people to join my Facebook group. In fact, the initial growth for my Facebook group came primarily via my email list, where I was doing Facebook ads. I was getting people, into my email list, and then I was pushing them into the group. Apart from the organic growth, and when I had these 500 to 700 members, I ran a poll on my group that would you like to, would you like to get courses from me? And a lot of people said yes. And then I went ahead and ran a poll, like, what course do you want? So Facebook ads course, Google ads course, SEO course, and most of the people voted for Google ads. And then I did a launch of my Google ads course, even without creating the course first, just to see how many people buy. And I was thinking that if I don't even get 50 sales of 1,000 rupees each, I will cancel the project and refund everyone. But if I make at least 50 sales, then I would sit and create the course. So I said 10 days down the line will be the launch. Now you can pre-order it. So because I had this interaction with people on the group, and I also, it might sound a little bit creepy, but as marketers, we need to research our customers well, right? So I would go ahead and check the personal profiles of all the people, kind of understand where they come from, what are the photos they, put out. So it gives you a very clear understanding of your customer avatar. So I knew that, okay, this audience is a little bit young, not necessarily professionals, more on the younger side. So the pricing has to be low. So the entire product market fit came because I had interaction within the group. So for me, a lot of people ask me like, Deepak, how do I make money from the group? I mean, okay, you have a group, you have people, but it's not like you post affiliate links and try to monetize the group directly. There is a lot of indirect benefits on understanding what people want, and companies pay an arm and a leg to understand what people want. And here we have our own small community where we can interact with people. And in fact, earlier I used to even contact people personally and I used to talk to them, to understand. That is why, since the product market fit is so well, like once I got that click, okay, this is what people want and this is what I need to give, and then suddenly you can scale. So this has been my experience with Facebook groups. So definitely my business, I owe it a lot to Facebook groups to have it got started. And even if there is a new idea that I want to try out, I just usually ask it on my Facebook group. I ask people, hey, what do you guys think? And people will give me a bunch of ideas. So next thing that I want to talk about is that in the conversation you mentioned Facebook reached out to you. So tell us more about that. How did Facebook reach out to you? What was the conversation after that? And how was the experience after, maybe Facebook itself coming into the picture? Like I can't imagine, Facebook itself reaching out to me and saying that, hey, your group is awesome.
Sure. Yeah. So there was a focus group that they did in Delhi, and I got an invite for it, and I went. And it was a focus group where clearly they had identified some communities, and I could see one common thread, that these were communities that were adding value and were very high engagement. So that was a common thread that I saw, because there was a community there for bikers and there was a community there, like someone was there from Mumbai, like a local community. So the themes were different, but they were clearly communities which were adding value and had high engagement. Uh, in that focus group, they had their team visiting from Menlo Park, which is their corporate office. And there was a lot of discussion on, communities and impact. And that was basically the start of, I was invited to that focus group. Next thing you know is, I get an email and they say that they want to do a case study on us. And I actually asked them that, what is the case study about? And they said, we're going to shoot a video, and we just want, and at that point we were 80,000 members, but they said, we just want to do it because of the organic growth and the way that you have, through a page and organic content, and it's all been organic, like literally not a dime spent in marketing. And like what Deepak just said, right? So inorganic growth can be structured, because you know what you are paying to reach how many, and then get them into X% come in a funnel, and then Y% click, and then this is the outcome. Organic growth by definition is not, you cannot structure it. It's like a tree, right? There are things which are always unknowns, and that's why it is always very fascinating. That's what we all want to crack, right? And what's like the secret sauce behind it. So I guess that's why they kind of wanted to do it. It was a great experience. So I'll tell you what I told them. I said, look, I'm not the rock star. I don't want to stand and be in front of the case study. I will be there, but I want to highlight one of our admins of the Home Remedies community. So we actually went to her house and shot that video. And just imagine the kind of feeling that the admin got, right? Because it's like her in-laws are there, and this whole team has come and shooting, and so we were in it, right? They shot our office as well. But I was very happy that I was able to highlight her and the power of an individual managing a community so effectively. Um, and I'll actually probably share that video, Deepak, if, and later that video is being used everywhere. So I saw it one day. There was a Priyanka Chopra show on Social Good, and suddenly people are tagging me, and apparently in that 2 hour show my video is being played. And so the point is, it's, I know it's a big thing for Facebook to reach out, but when we create impact, and I think when we do the right things, whether it's a Facebook or a Google or whoever, right, they will come to us because they want to highlight the good that's being done. So anyway, that's kind of how that happened. And it's still it still continues that relationship where they want us to talk or do something, but the reason was just engagement. I don't think they, and they picked that up from the back end. So if the community is doing well in a region, they'll just kind of pick that up.
Yeah, yeah. So these admins of these smaller groups, they were doing it pro bono. They were not charging you for it or anything like that.
uh,
They
Sorry,
were
the
doing
focus
it
group
for,
at Facebook.
yeah, I mean the smaller groups that you had created and the admins of these Facebook groups, they were doing the administration activity for free, right? They were not charging you for it.
So we were not monetizing, and I'll take
Mm.
that monetization question now. We were not monetizing for the first few months, right? Like, so again, it might sound very counterintuitive because we first think of how to make money and then do something. I think we would just first started with a pain point, and we knew that if we're solving that pain point, if there's people, then we'll figure a monetization strategy. That was the thought process. So for the first few months, we were not monetizing. Uh, I'll tell you how and why we started monetizing or felt compelled to do it. Like I said, we were very, very strong on conversational insights, right? From that first Excel model to sort of then being it, and today we have an entire data science team. We were at it, and I was fascinated by the breadth and depth of conversations, fascinated with the richness of conversations. I've worked with data all my life, financial data, built pretty intense models, but never worked with this kind of rich contextual data. And what we saw was that 40% of conversations, and this was all parenting communities, were around products and brands. So it's not like people don't need information. They need information, right? Like I'm sure, Deepak, in your community, I hope Conversite can help some people, right? Conversite today is a free tool,
100%.
even if we were a paid tool, right? You are there because you need a tool to help grow. And this is what I mean by people are there because essentially there is a need, and they need information. I was again very curious and used to wonder that how come people have such basic questions about certain categories and brands or experts, like nobody's really there to answer. It's a lot of peer learning, but could there be a structured format in which information could be made available to these people, with proper disclaimers? And I used to think a lot about that why is this not happening right now? Everywhere else I go on the internet, I'm being shown an ad. Because I'm a mother, I'll be shown an ad on everything which a mother can buy, which is just an ad. It just says go buy. But what about the 5 things that I want answers to? And I'll just be very blatantly, this was the only reason why I felt like this is a space which can be explored for meaningful partnerships, and there could be a purpose led approach to marketing, and let's go all out. Now, maybe I was naive, I knew nothing about marketing, but I think that played in our advantage, because then there I was fearless, right? We've been fearless. We
Yes.
went all out and we started talking to startups, we just started talking to brands, and just started figuring out, like, how are you understanding what your consumers want? Like, do you know the 5 things they want? Do you know what organically, how many times like you asked, right? You asked people, Deepak, that how many people know Conversite? And maybe 2 of 10 or 3 of 10 said yes, but then we know 30% people know and 70% don't know. But at least I know that, right? And then I know my job is to maybe get 70% people to know about me, or
Yes.
100% people.
Yes.
It was exactly the same kind of simple questioning with which we approach this, and uh, realize there's a big gap in the way large brands, mid-level brands try to understand their target consumers, the persona. Because like you said, Deepak, a lot of it is done in through, let's say, focus groups or surveys, but there's still a bias there, right? There's a lot of listening that's being done on sort of open social pages, but again, those are comments, right? Those are all balcony platforms. A community is a hall, right?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the communities where everything else, where we have an identity digitally, is like a person standing in a balcony, whether it's a brand or Deepak or Tamanna or an influencer, where we are like, this is like a balcony. This is a balcony, although of course it's organic, so there's a community, but it's dissemination, right? And people are only passively engaging, versus a community which is a hall, which is a two-way interaction and conversations. So figured that there's a big gap there on the insights. The second point that we realized was that we all talk about digital, and I used to get fascinated, digital is great and awesome and growing, and we've probably gone to the moon with all the research we're doing. And but I realized all the innovation that was done on really PII, personal information, tracking down who Tamanna is, where she goes online, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and showing her that ad. Cracking open the persona of Tamanna based on these data points and building an audience, right? But very little sort of innovation or work had been done to understand the real pain points, right? Forget the identity of Tamanna, but what are the main needs of Tamanna, right? So again, realize that was a big pain point. And in terms of tracking, reach and impressions and eyeballs and all that is great, right? And then passive sort of engagement is great. But from that to consideration, there was very little work to be done. And I was actually amazed to see some of the largest, most advanced sort of brands and marketers, just because it's not easy. And I'm not saying we are there yet, but that's where I felt that communities is like going to the horse's mouth. If I'm talking to 500 of you, and super privileged, by the way, today is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all of you, and I'm so grateful to be talking to all of you today. But 500 of you have an interest, right? I would rather be talking to you than talking to 50,000 people, of which maybe a 1% or a half a percent may be relevant, right? So that's sort of the whole proposition with which we approach tracking this. And we started monetizing by meaningful and as we still call it, purpose led brand marketing, to drive consideration, to help brands with better insights at a category level, not at a person level. No personal information, absolutely nothing shared, but just at a category level. And that input helps them not just with marketing or doing collaboration in communities, but helps them with their overall strategies around product launch, like what Deepak is saying. Exactly, he wants to launch a course, it's a product, right? He'll go and ask in his community. He wants to get feedback on something, he wants to get feedback on today's session, he'll go on the community, right? So straight feedback. You want to get feedback on a product. So that's kind of how we started. Was it easy? No. Is it easy today? Not at all. Today we are helping 700 communities monetize. It's been an uphill journey, but it's worked very, very well, extremely well.
Some of the points that you mentioned were actually very deep. Like, when you said that brands just go ahead and take some data about a user from the superficial data they have on the web and they target and they put out the ad. Uh, the biggest thing that companies are missing is that one thing, the product itself, like new product ideas can come up when you go ahead and understand what people want. And second thing, you will be able to find new angles for the entire marketing thing that you can do, right? So in fact, when I started digital marketing training and everything, one thing that I discovered was that most of the people struggle with lack of mentorship. So people wanted not just the courses, but they wanted a mentorship thing. And then I understood that the biggest difficulty that people have is to overcome procrastination and actually go ahead and learn something, and not just learn it but actually do it. So that is why the entire idea for the internship program which I am running right now, which is my flagship program, the idea came because of the community, because of interacting and because of spending time reading people's comments, which is not something that you can get out of like a survey form or a research company which will say that if you are already putting like a poll, and if you are getting people to answer the poll, the options inside the poll are restricted to what you think the customers should want. So you are not opening it up to open conversation and listening to it, which actually can bring new ideas itself. So by the way, a lot of people who are part of the internship program are also here in the webinar. So guys, if you are an intern, just type intern in the chat box. Can put it as all panelists and attendees. And we can see that there are a lot of people who are
I'm gonna
interns.
take this trick from you, Deepak. I love it. It's so awesome.
Yeah, in
So much
fact,
to learn.
yeah, in fact,
This is
most of my community engagement happens on weekly webinars where every week we have a mastermind call with the interns for exclusive interns. And yeah, you can put the batch number also. So right now we have like, so I'm on the 8th batch for this month, where so every batch we have 500 students and we have weekly assignments, and then people submit the assignments, we review the assignments, we have an MCQ test towards the end. I call it DMAT, Digital Marketing Aptitude Test. So, so yeah, so this entire thing, started because of the groups, because we were able to understand better on what people exactly want. So now I would like to know about how the entire idea for converting this into a startup, and how ConvoSite came into existence, and how your husband started getting involved. When did that shift happen, where you would have had that moment, right? Okay, let's do this as a business, and you would have probably come up with a name, registered the domain name, or bought it as a premium name. So tell me more about that journey, on how it started and how it's going.
sure. So, while building, I'll tell you how it happened, right? And like everything else in life, a lot of it is serendipity. So I'm just going to say that, and big believer of serendipity, and forever grateful for those things to come in front of us and us trying to leverage those. But this relationship with Facebook, which started with a case study and uh, just some focus groups. I'm going to tell you the whole story, right? Because then it's interesting. So some of you may know Pradeep. Uh, I think that Deepak, you know Pradeep. Maybe he's right. He was the marketing head at Baby Gogo. Uh, Pradeep sent me a link one day. I get a WhatsApp saying, Tamanna, you should apply for this. I
Okay.
click on the link, and it's an
Mm.
application for a program called Facebook Community Leadership Program.
Mm-hmm.
First time ever, Facebook has launched a program where it will give funding to communities. 100 communities will get funding, will get mentorship support, and will get the ability to interact and learn from each other in a structured program over 9 months. And I'm just a kind of person who's not into a lot of like we've studied enough, right? I just like not into applying for awards or programs, and very anti PR, right? This is not my, I'm loving actually talking to all of you. I just feel that energy even though I cannot see all of you. But this program, the minute I opened the link, I kept reading, and I read to the last line, and I closed it, and I went and I told my husband, I said, you know what, there is one program where we have to apply. And this seems like it's cut out for us. Like literally every single line that they spoke about, whether it was community impact, whether it was, how you're scaling and what are your goals, and every single thing was, it's like it's cut out for us. Went ahead and applied. Long story short, there were 4 rounds to it: an application, a video interview, again, super camera shy person, so I'm not very comfortable recording a video and just sharing it, right? So recording a video and sharing, and then a whole committee was set up, and then we finally got an email which said that we are selected. So that program, which again, it's not, I wish it was still on and would have loved to refer a bunch of you to it. But so we got selected as a part of one of the 100 community leaders from across the globe in the Facebook Community Leadership Program. We got $50,000 as a grant funding. So no equity, just a grant funding, and it was cash, right? So it was money literally that we got.
Just to use it for growing your Facebook group.
It wasn't that. There was actually, so we had to submit like, what are we going to use it for. So different people use it for different things. Some people were setting up a physical space, and I'll also tell you what was our project, right? So our project was to try to build an app for more sort of penetration into tier 2 cities, because like I said, we had Hindi and all these other languages also, for which we were building communities, and we felt that there needs to be better content in regional languages and more penetration into the real sort of Bharat, right? Because we were seeing a big gap there. Everybody's after metro. So that was our project, by the way, you know, getting into FCLP, Facebook Community Leadership Program. I have to admit that these are the most inspiring bunch of individuals I have met in my entire life, whether it was MDI, whether it was GM in New York, whether it was, I'm fortunate again to have good experiences. But this was like suddenly somebody has picked 100 people and put them in a room, those people who care about impact, people who are as entrepreneurial as you can be, people who can think of the biggest growth hacks to create impact. And that was a life changing moment. So I will forever be grateful to Facebook to give that opportunity to interact with those people. Because when I interacted with them, I realized that if these guys also become sustainable along with impact, you cannot pour from an empty glass. Just because you have a community, not everybody has a mindset and can think that let me channelize it into, like a whatever, let me build a product around it, let me have another business idea. The point is, if you're running a community, it's not a non-profit. With that impact, there has to be a means of sustainability, right, and monetization. And we were actually one of the most advanced in that cohort in terms of technology and in terms of where we were in our monetization journey. That's where it suddenly struck to me, hold on, like all these tools, everything that we're doing, it's at a baby destination level. What if we put it out in the world? What if we enable people who in turn enable and empower so many people in their communities? Just imagine the exponential impact of this whole. And I have to tell you, that thought never left me. And I'm like, what am I thinking? This is crazy. How will we do it? Like, why will Facebook give us access? And I still remember from Menlo Park, right, calling, Tarun, who's, my co-founder and husband, and Karthik, who's our co-founder and tech head. And Karthik is like, are you crazy? Like, Facebook will do it themselves. What are you like? Let's go and scale what we're, sort of what we started out with. But anyways, that's how the idea was. And the reason I'm telling you this in detail is because, guys, if there's any idea that you get, the whole world may think you're crazy, but you're not crazy. If you have the conviction and the right data points to believe, then we should believe. So we believed. We came back in last July from the last meetup in Menlo Park. In October, we had already launched a beta version. We figured everything out about Facebook API, how to make sure that all the data privacy law, everything is sort of followed. We realized in order to get to that monetization level, it's very important to expose all of these moderation and engagement tools for free, because that is a stepping stone indeed to become sustainable, right? All of you are, I think, still very aware, and the fact that you're following Deepak means that you're learning a lot about digital marketing. But there's 70 million people in the world building communities. A lot of them are individuals who just started out because they cared. Either they had a pain point, or they cared, it's hiking or biking or parenting or golf lovers, but they started something, and a number of them left their jobs, started doing this full time, and have no idea of what to do next. They're doing what they are good at doing, facilitating connections, but they don't have that knowledge, and not everybody can start a linked business. So we realize it's important to bring this whole tool set of moderation as a stepping stone to enable sustainability to them. Launched in October in a closed beta with a select set of admins and with three large enterprise brands, launched to the world in January. Today we have 35,000 communities, of which 5,000 are what we call as meaningful. And meaningful is over 250 members that collectively manage 98 million members.
Wow, that's
700
those are big numbers.
communities. Yeah, and 700 communities are sort of actively sustaining their communities through Conversite, and we've paid out several hundreds of thousands of dollars since April till date to community admins.
Okay,
And we want that number to go to 100 million. So that's our vision, right?
fantastic.
Community admins should get 100 million worth of revenue, right? Like that's our vision. So
Now,
that's kind of
now,
how it
now you are
happened.
comfortable taking big numbers, but when you got started with the whole journey, it's almost like, it's partially exciting, partially intimidating, partially there is a voice, hey, don't get ahead of yourself, you might get disappointed. But you have to maneuver all those feelings and come out and actually do things, and then you are at a position where results start coming. So that's the journey of entrepreneurship. In my opinion, it's more about conquering your self doubt than about anything else. Apart from all the benefits that I get from entrepreneurship, if I can just conquer my self doubt whether I can do it or not, that's more than enough. So amazing. So very inspiring journey. Apart from learning about Conversite, I think we learned about how your journey started and this whole serendipity thing, right? So I also believe that you need to manufacture serendipity. Like, you need to keep doing something and keep taking initiatives, and that's when serendipity happens, right? You are basically putting yourself in a position where there are more chances of something like this happening. Like most of the things that happened in my life are definitely serendipity. But like for example, in 2009, I used to run a motorcycle blog. So I'm like a huge motorcycling fan, and I had a community. I created this thing called Bike Advice. At that time, Facebook groups was not very well known, and I kind of created a community using my email list on the blog itself, where we are going ahead and just turn off the comments for a while. So we are going ahead and asking people to submit their motorcycle, reviews, and we would go ahead and publish it on our blog. And we would give out prizes. Like for the first prize, we would give out a helmet, second prize jacket, third prize gloves, and people used to start pouring in with their motorcycle reviews. And for people, motorcycles are like very close to their heart, right? So it's like a relationship thing and everything. So this actually took me to China. In 2009, the Chinese government invited me for a motorcycle exhibition on a completely sponsored trip. And I met the editor-in-chief of motorcycle.com and journalists from other countries and all that. And that blog ended up getting like a million page views a month by 2011, 2012. And then I sold the blog, and then I moved to Bangalore and started doing digital marketing. I had an exit from the blog. So at that time, Facebook groups was not very big, but now I am planning to start a motorcycle blog again because that's my passion, and I will probably create a group around it. So yeah. So guys, what do you think about the webinar so far? Let me know in the chat box. So here, some of the biggest takeaways are create an impact. If you want to create an impact for your community, if you want to go ahead and do something, then something good will happen. You cannot go and tell the fireplace that, hey, give me heat first and then I will put the wood. You have to put out something there, and then something will just happen naturally, right? So that is a very big takeaway. So now I would like to go ahead and talk about Conversite itself, on how Conversite, from a layman's understanding perspective, how Conversite can help. And I also just opened up Conversite. So guys, you can go to conversite.com, and if you are already part of a Facebook group, I mean, if you're an admin of a Facebook group, you can just log in using your Facebook account at conversite.com. In fact, I will just show you how it is done. And So here just log in using Facebook and connect your group. So Tamanna, this is my group. I have connected. Just for people to understand, how this works on a bird's eye view or superficial level. So as soon as I'm in, this is what I see. I see member growth, engagement rate, activity rate. Where do I go from here, and what are the insights I can draw from here to help make my Facebook group better?
Sure. So, first of all, amazing. I just always smile when I see a user showing me their Conversite group dashboard. So amazing to see this. So, guys, once you install, it will take some, I just want to mention that because you should know it will take some time for you to start seeing this dashboard. And that's because it takes time to process your conversations. We again fetch it using official Facebook APIs. Conversite is a part of official list of Facebook apps. It'll take some time and it'll say analyzing. So you do have to, come back in a few hours, or I would say come back next day, and you'll see this dashboard. So the idea was that what is this overview screen? It starts from your basic insights, and it gives you suggested actions, right? So one of the problems, right, that admins face, and Deepak, like you're saying, once you start even more communities, I'm sure all of us understand this term notification overload. Every hour on an average there are 100 plus notifications in one notification bell on Facebook, which is a mix of the group I manage, which is a mix of my Facebook page, which is my friends notifications, and the groups that I'm a part of, right? So the idea was that everything for the groups you manage comes, you come here first thing in the morning, right? You see that what is the member growth, and you see the last and I don't know, Deepak, why it is not showing on you, but we've also released yesterday's growth and then last 30 days growth.
Okay.
And then two numbers that we need to obsess with. So when you ask me what is the secret, what is organic, it's just obsessing with these two numbers: engagement and activity rate. Engagement rate is engagement at a total member level. If there are 100 members, 200 engagements happened in a month. And Facebook algorithm in some way, shape or form does consider this number very, very seriously, right? So engagement rate is that, and ideally this number. So Deepak, we should also, I'm sure that your engagement rate will also go up a lot. Will with we can do more activities where members are sharing, etc. And then activity rate is activity rate as a post level. How many interactions are happening? So 76 is pretty good, because it means on an average in every post in your community there are 76 comments and interactions. And again, this is all organic. So I know a number of you were asking, organic reach is dead. Again, it's dead on the pages. It's dead on the pages, but it's massively high in groups. That's where all of this is happening organically. So again, from your overview screen, you would see that snapshot. You can go to your group health tab. The way that this is structured, on the left, there is overview, there is alerts, post publisher, and insights. And what Deepak is right now showing is the group health.
So I can go ahead and create a post from right inside this dashboard itself. I don't need to
Yes.
go ahead and log it into Facebook. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are at group health.
Yeah. So group health, again, look at these numbers. We look at how the engagement metrics are, right, week on week. If you just scroll down, I'll just show you how a simple thing such as, okay, just one second, Deepak. The post type distribution, if you see in Deepak's group, 53% of the posts were status posts, which means text post, but they contributed 63% to engagement.
Okay, very interesting.
32% posts were photo posts, but they contributed only 24% to engagement. So for whatever reason, and this is quite fascinating, I've not seen that status posts are performing so well, but clearly means that it's an informational group, right, where you do share a lot of information and your status posts are doing very well. So now you would know that the kind of post format that works best with your audience is this. So just one simple kind of insight there, right?
Yeah.
Again, if we go back to the overview page, so every day, if you were to come to this overview page, and you would see suggested actions for you. One is keyword alerts. One is resharing a previously trending post. I just want to talk about it for a minute, right? It's a basic rule of content. The content that does well, you reshare it. you reshare it after a certain frequency, because now it will reach a newer set of organic audience. Like, I'm not sure, Deepak, if you do it, but some of your webinars that do well, you could possibly publish them, right? Like if you publish it online, I'm sure you get more people and it more views, etc.
Yes,
So
yes.
the reshared post that you get here right from the dashboard, which you can reshare. If it was shared by a member, it is also very good for the member, because that member gets a shout out, right, that their post was reshared with, and it will reach to newer set of audiences. Again, more comments, more engagement. Then there are unanswered posts. So Deepak's group is great. There are no unanswered posts. But again, remember when I said the first hurdle a new member crosses is commenting, and the next thing is posting. The first post that I do in a community, and if I don't get any answer, I'm less likely, right? Like my confidence really goes up if I get an answer fast and I get a trusted answer. So again, each one of these relationships we have tested, which is why we've put it out here so simply that it's kind of a no-brainer. And then there are keyword alerts. If we go to keyword alerts, it's a very, very interesting tool that we've built. Keyword alerts on the left, Deepak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
if
let's
we go
say
to keyword
internship
alerts,
program.
the idea of this was for spam control, right? So
Okay.
we started with spam control, but it's not just spam control, it's lead gen. It's so like I see, Deepak, you are tracking your internship related keywords, right? Because you want to
Yeah.
see what conversations came on internship, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I would love to, like, so again, any kind of, if you're doing any partnership, if you have a product, like in Deepak's case, internship is a product, right? It's a product because that's a way, uh, um, that's something he wants to track both from a feedback perspective, etc. So all internship related keywords are here. You come and you can act on it however you want, and you can track it all in one place. If you're working with a brand partner, you can put those keywords and you can come and track them and you can show them in a report. If you're planning to work, let's say, Deepak, you want to reach out to someone in Facebook, right? Just saying that Facebook should do some sort of a partnership with your courses. If you use all the Facebook keywords and show that, look, this is the kind of conversations that are happening around Facebook and the issues that people are facing for which I have launched, uh, that's very meaningful. So the point is that any sort of pitching or a partnership request that we are doing, we want to do research, we use this keyword tool. Plus, it is very,
Got
very
it.
effective for spam control.
Mm-hmm.
So, for parenting communities, let's say, right, medicinal, a lot of moms suggest medicines which we don't want. So, we have a medicinal queue because we don't want mothers suggesting medicines to each other,
Yes,
right? There's
yes.
profanity abusive. Admin is important because, you want to know what, whenever the admin or moderators are tagged. So, that's
Mm-hmm.
sort of this entire tool. And the post publisher tool that Deepak was showing, uh, uh, on the left below
Yeah.
the alerts,
So
there's
can I create a
uh,
new alert as well for a keyword? Like what if somebody mentions my name? Would I be able to create an alert for that?
yeah, yes, you can go to admin, for example. And again, this admin queue was added because of, yeah, you can go to
Ah,
admin, right?
yeah.
And you can select these conversations, right? So
Got
Deepak,
it.
Digital
Yes.
Deepak. So you know that all of your, yeah.
Mm.
And
Very
one
nice.
very important thing before I forget, that every day you can get a WhatsApp message with the overview of your community. So once you sign up, you can get a chance to opt into WhatsApp on the top.
Mm. Great. I think this keyword thing is actually very useful because right now, since the group has grown very large, we have been having a lot of trouble reviewing posts and approving them. But this kind of makes it easy. What do you usually suggest? Should we kind of keep it open for members to post because then there is a little bit of problem of spam? Should we then select moderators or just pre-approve posts for certain people? How do we usually manage it in large groups?
So I would suggest keeping post approval on. I know it's a big responsibility, and I know you asked me this question: is it pro bono? But you have so many students who would love to even volunteer for this, and later, you can pay them, right? Like we started getting paid moderators the day we started monetizing. We started paying them as well. But always, I would suggest keep post approval on, because quality
Yes.
engagement is what matters, right? It's not just what
Yes.
people are posting, it's if people are posting, it's relevant. And if I'm a
Mm.
part of your community, Deepak, and let's say I see three posts which are not relevant, I
Mm.
will already make an assessment on the quality of members, right? And that's it. I'm either checked in or checked out. So I would say keep post approval on, but then after that, use. So one big problem which Facebook is also trying to solve is editing. People post and then they edit and add a YouTube link or add a promotional
Yes.
link there, right?
Yes.
So maybe next year we'll start to see that some of that is disabled, like Twitter, right? Twitter, you cannot edit
Yeah, edit
anything.
it. Yeah.
uh, right? So I would suggest keep post approval on. And this is the creating sort of a post module that the feature that Deepak is showing. Again, what to post we spoke about, right? Understand the insights, understand what people are talking about. We create a content plan. When to post is very important. We want to, because it's all organic. If there are 10,000 members or 20,000 members in your community, you would want to post most members are active within the community, and that is a data point that we pick up. And like this is auto publish, but we also give suggestions. If you go back, or scroll down, you'll see suggestions on the most active times to post. So this is what you use to if you go back, Deepak,
It's
on
7 p.m.
create a post, you'll be able to see this. Yeah. So the idea is that
Yeah.
we
So this
set
is
up a
create a
content
post.
calendar
We can schedule it here.
schedule. If you go to schedule, yeah, you'll be able
So,
to see the
in terms
most
of
active time.
deciding which time to post inside a group, do we get any insights on that? On which would be the best time? Like if I have to post inside my group, how do I find which would be the best time to do it?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If you go to create a post, uh, just go back and just hit schedule and see. Uh,
Okay.
not
Okay. Yeah.
instead of publish
So,
now. Uh,
okay. So here I
yeah, so
can
this is
select
the
the
suggested
date and
time.
time. Suggested
Yes,
time it
yes,
gives
this
me.
is the
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right. It already comes here because with one click, and again, so we typically set it like we set a week's worth of content.
Okay.
And if we have to do some ad hoc content, like let's say something's come out the same day, we'll just go to Conversite, and just because even within the same day, it will select and post at the most engaging time. So when members are most active, the likelihood of them seeing it is higher.
Got
And
it.
again,
Got
these
it.
are all things we just this did in a disciplined manner for Baby Destination. Again, this is the reshare post tab. So we've shown you the top video posts, the top image post, and the top text posts. And we show you the activity against each. So
Okay.
you see that this video of DM series YouTube channel is 171. So you already know that this did well, right? It was way higher than average activity on that particular post. This is something you could just repost.
Got it. Got it. So repost is basically it gets shared on my personal profile page, which is a group post.
No, yes, everything is
Ah,
posted from your profile only,
yeah, yeah.
but it'll get post within the community. If you just
Okay.
yeah, if you repost something, it'll just get
Re
posted within the community.
again. Okay. Amazing. So this tool is completely free for people to use.
Yes, and you can add your moderators.
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
go down and add your moderators. You see, so a lot of people have their admin and moderator teams here,
Okay. Okay.
and different people have specific tasks, and then they get WhatsApp notification every day, which
Hmm.
the admin, and moderators get, and they know what their, like if one moderator's job is to ensure there is no spam in the group or to
Hmm.
track leads,
Hmm.
then daily
Hmm.
they'll know that how many conversations are pending.
Hmm. Got
Um,
it.
so this part of this tool is absolutely free. I know some people were asking questions on, how do admins, how will they sort of monetize, or how do we monetize, and who's funding this. So as Conversite, we did receive a pre-series A funding earlier this year from Sequoia, Surge, and Ivy Cap. And we again very thankful and grateful that they believed in this sort of vision, because we are the first platform in the world to be doing this for group admins, and it was quite crazy then, and it's crazy now but it's because of the support that we got that initial capital to continue to build. because we wanted to keep it free for admins. Again, until they are not making money, where will they pay from? Right? So at next year, some point, now that we see admins monetize, we'll be releasing some paid feature set, but a basic version will be continue to be free forever for the admins that monetize with us. Who's paying them? Like I said, it's the brand partners that are paying for category level insights or purpose led marketing. And that entire workflow is also free. So that set of features is not exposed to everyone. It's only whoever is sort of eligible for it and opts into it. So brands, and that's the way admins are monetizing. And that's how we are monetizing from the brand partners. So I hope that part is clear.
Yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah.
idea is self sustainability. So a lot of this information can be used by yourself to do, again, if you're running any courses, if you have a product that you want to launch in your community, or like there's different kinds of community admins. I don't know how many of you know about Fitter, but Squats, right? It was JC, who's the founder, started with the Squats Facebook group, and it's the largest success story of how he bootstrapped his business. Now it's an app, right, which connects fitness enthusiasts with trainers. But like Deepak, like how you said, his Facebook group continues to be the biggest source of acquisition, which is like a
Yes,
zero cost acquisition source. He
yes,
has
yes.
500,000 members in the group. And again, he uses a lot of insights to, get that information. So
Yeah, yeah. Totally. So thanks a lot. I mean, it was quite a good webinar. So guys, what do you think about the webinar today and what did you learn? Let me know what you learned in the webinar. In fact, I will just quickly go ahead and put out a tweet. If you are on Twitter, you have a
yes, I
Twitter
am.
ID. Can you just let me know your
Yes.
Twitter ID? I'm trying to find you.
Yes, it's Thamicha Tamanna.
Okay. Yeah, got it. So I'll just put out a tweet asking for feedback about today's webinar. Just give me a moment.
I love this idea of doing everything live. This is a good learning from Deepak.
Yeah, I mean, usually with live, the engagement is better, the response is better. I just got addicted to it like 2019, and since then I've been doing everything live. So, guys, I will just go ahead and put out the link to the tweet, and I would like to go ahead and give your feedback on the Twitter link that I have given, so that we have a record of your feedback instead of just having the chats come up in the chat box here.
Thank you all so
Fantastic.
much. You're sending me thank you messages, but I'm thankful to you to listen. And I really, even if one of you, finds this valuable and is able to get onto a path to sustainability. So our vision is helping admins become community entrepreneurs. That's why we started, and truly believe that community entrepreneurs will be the epitome of passion economy. Right, it's the best
Absolutely.
thing to
Yes.
make a sustainable, right, to make a living doing what you love. And I think we are blessed to be working with such amazing set of, everybody says these our users are super amazing, right? Our users care so much about impact, and that's what just keeps us going every single day. But thank you
Yes.
all so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
I'm just so
So
overwhelmed.
thank you. So thanks a lot, Tamanna. I think we have been on it for like a little bit more than an hour, and it's getting late. And probably your son will be waiting for you to get back. So what I would like to do is that I would like to also have like ask me anything session again. With exclusively for our interns. Today I had invited everyone on my list, but we could do like a internal Q&A session with our intern groups as well. You should also check out more about the internship program. We have like we have like the industry's best conversion rates. I mean
Oh,
completion rates
wow.
for the course. So we have 70% completion rate for the entire course. And we have like enrolled more than 4,000 students in the program so far. It's like an assignment based, project based, gamified learning experience. So thanks a lot, and looking forward to interact with you again. And we will also be putting it up on YouTube. And if anybody is watching this on YouTube, please definitely go ahead and leave a comment below on what you thought, what you think about it. And definitely go ahead and sign up at convosite.com and connect to your Facebook group, play around with it, tinker around with it. It's a free tool. So that's about it. And thanks for joining the show, and have
Sure.
a great
Thank
weekend
you.
ahead.
Yes. Thank you, Deepak. Thank you to all of you. Truly, privileged to be talking to all of you, and would love to, hear feedback and learn from all of you as well. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.